You know, it has been a minute since we've talked about cryptocurrency, graphics cards, graphics card prices, and mining, GPU mining specifically, and I think that's actually a good thing. It's a testament to the downward trend of the overall mining scene, at least with respect to what we would refer to as gaming cards. See, a couple years ago, 1660 Supers were selling all day on sites like eBay for $400 and above. And that was even for used listings. People were willing to pay it because, well, the cards were quite efficient and folks didn't want to spend like $800, $900 per card, so they'd buy 1660 Supers, RTX 2060s, RX 580s, and they would mine with those. They'd buy 10, 12 of them, and they'd get a decent hash rate, and they'd make some money on the side and call it a day. Look, I've never really had this like personal vendetta against miners specifically. I think the real scum involved those large distributors that were working out backdoor deals with the huge mining corporations and the huge warehouses, not giving us gamers a chance to even get a hold of stock. That was the big deal to me. The fact is, nowadays you can find GTX 1660 Supers for around 100 USD used, and 2 years ago they were selling for $400 and above. That transition is just insane. And what it means for today is that if you are still in the mining scene using traditional graphics cards to, I don't know, mine your friend next door's doggy coin or something, you're probably not making a lot of money. In fact, you're probably losing some money. And so you'll see that there's a lot of listings out there for miners who just want to get rid of their cards. They want to get rid of their supply because it's just not worth it anymore. Let's cash out, call it a day. We made some money, no longer doing so. And yeah, just going to liquidate whatever assets remain. Well, there's still a bit of delusion out there. Still a lot of folks who think graphics cards are worth what they were in 2021, 2022. And here's the other thing. If you're going to bother with even listing some of these rigs, mining rigs, if you want to call them that, at least make them look sort of pretty and don't boldface lie in the description. There's some juicy ones in here. Stay with me. Mailgun is the modern way to work with email. With its data-driven approach and easy-to-use UI, you can reach real customers at scale. Mailgun controls the entire email lifecycle from pre-development through delivery with its powerful email API and intuitive email marketing solutions, supporting companies like DHL, Wikipedia, and Microsoft along the way. You'll find useful tools like send time optimization, which automatically tracks and pushes emails to individuals at the times they're most likely to engage with them. You can create massive reports for large email lists and test things like spam filters the next time you click send. There's a reason Mailgun's the most relied upon email platform for growing businesses, and we greatly appreciate their continued support of this channel. Try them today by using my link mailgun.com/Greg, which you can also find at the top of this video's description. So like I said, there's a lot of delusion here. There's also you know, the occasional funny listing. So this dude is just willing to give away his mining frame. He's just like, you know what, just take it. I don't even want it anymore. That's pretty funny. This guy here is willing to sell an empty crypto mining rig case with no GPUs for $500. I'm not sure he's even gonna get a single view. All right, let's kick things off with this one. It says mining rig with motherboard, CPU, SSD, and questionable fans. No PSU included or GPU. It's 85 bucks and it was listed 18 weeks ago, which should tell you all you need to know about this listing. The first photo is, I'm not sure what I'm even looking at here. I don't think it's only the fans that are questionable here, but the entire assembly or lack thereof. This just looks like it was all thrown into a pile. I mean, this is like the most unattractive set of photos I think I've ever seen in a mining listing. And then the description is like 8 words. No PSU included. Fans in questionable condition. Just in case you missed it in the title, the fans, they're looking a bit sketchy, my friend. They're also looking a bit warped. I don't know what's going on here. So, what a way to start. Let's move on to, ooh, yes. This one's a pretty good one. Right, so this listing actually has graphics cards included, which you're gonna need to mine with if you wanted to do that sort of mining. I'm not sure why you would anymore. Here I have 3 3080 Ti's, 3 3070 Ti's, and 1 3060. I have 2 AC Infinity fans and an AC Infinity tent willing to part out. He wants $6,000 for it, and we're gonna do some quick off the top math here to show you why this is like a horrible deal. Just stay away from it. Just want to show you that I'm not pulling these numbers out of thin air. You can find 3060s all day for the mid to high 200s, like 250 for this one, 200 for that one. I'm not sure why this sold for $339 because it's open box and not you know, used, refurbished for 192, but all day like 250, 200, 299, 250, 250, 280, 220. So you get the idea. These cards have come very far down in price since 2021. So here's how this is going to work. I don't know the value of this AC tent thing that this guy's got going. Like, if you're buying a used mining rig, you're probably pretty price sensitive to begin with, which I can understand. And you're probably not willing to pay what this guy's going to be asking for the AC tent. You're just going to let your cards run hot wherever they can run in your house. So I'm just going to value the cards. I don't see the power supplies listed. If there's more than one, I don't even know that because I can't see them from the photos. And typically the power supplies are the only other expensive components in a mining rig because the platform doesn't need to be very expensive. It doesn't really do much when the rig is mining. So again, I can only price what I see here. If the power supplies were expensive and important, in my view, the owner of this rig would have included those specs in the description. You didn't, so here we go. 3080 Ti's, 3 of them for about $600 each from what I could find on eBay. That's $1,800. 3 3070 Ti's for $400 each. It's about $1,200. Combine those two, it's about $3 grand. Plus a single 3060 for $300. What, $3,300 bucks. $3,300 in graphics cards. I'd probably offer somewhere in the realm of like $2,700 just to offer to take all of them off this plate, unless you wanted to part them out and go through the hassle of doing so. We're still missing about $3 grand here. The frame and the fans, and again, you've got the power supplies, but you could buy used 1,500 watt power supplies for $250, $300 all day. Those still aren't going to get me anywhere near $6 grand. We're about 50-60% of the way there, my friend. I know I feel really bad for this guy. Well, maybe I don't feel bad for him. So this was actually priced at $500, which I thought was pretty enticing. But the thing is, you can't, list things for more than $500 on Facebook Marketplace if you're willing to ship those things. I don't know why that's a rule. It just is. I'm sure it's a liability issue. So this guy very promptly let you know the price is not $500. If you're interested, let him know. But yeah, this is a lot of cards, and he says that it's a newly built rig. Is it possible he built this entire thing, dropped several $1,000s potentially into it, only to figure out that it's actually not really making him much money at all? He says it's mining Ethereum at 485 mega hash. With the way that Ethereum works now, I'm not sure if this is even the correct figure, and if it is, I'm not sure if this is even going to turn you anywhere close to a profit. But you just, don't let someone else's misery become your own because you weren't willing to do the research. Now, it's not often you see RGB in mining rigs because it's just not very efficient. It's kind of like the whole point is just to maximize efficiency in a mining rig, but here we are. Okay, so this guy just like decked out the front of his rig with rainbow fans, which it is what it is. He's got 4 3080s in there, which are worth about $400 each. He's got 2 3070s worth about $300 each, and then 2 1300 watt power supplies. We're going to say these are worth about $250 each. So that's $500 there, and then you've got about $600 here. It's $1,100. And then 4 3080s at about $400 each. So 1,100 plus 1,600 is what, $2,700. We're south of $3 grand. Include the price of the frame and the fans if you're willing to do that. Maybe the platform as well. You're looking at about $3,000. And this person wants, yeah, you're reading that right, $8,000. This is a relatively new listing, mind you. So I think this person's in for a bit of a shell shock. I also think this description is hilarious. This unit was newly assembled and is slightly used, just slightly. Expansion adapter for 2 more cards. Power supply can handle anything, no problem. Over 540 mega hashes when I had it running. This is not a bootlegged wooden box with worthless graphics cards in it. This is for the serious buyer who knows what a beast unit this is. The unit ran flawless when tuned correctly. Once again, we need a bit of context here. I'm sure this rig was at least somewhat profitable back when mining Ethereum with these cards was actually profitable. It's not anymore. And here's the other thing. He says, again, it's slightly used, but we've got dust for days, especially caked up in these fans and these heat sinks on top of that power supply. That doesn't look slightly used. There's one other shot. I saw it. Where is it? Yeah, here's looking pretty dusty. You can see there's a lot of dust on top of those cables. It does not look slightly used at all. So take that for what you will. Now here's one for you. 10 GPU mining rig with EVGA PSUs listed for $7,500 a week ago around New Jersey. This is literally on a cart that can be wheeled around. I guess that's cool if you need it to be portable. I really don't know if this is like acceptable behavior in the mining community, or at least like the consumer grade mining community. Like, is this okay? Miners out there, is this something you'd be comfortable with? Does this look right to you? I don't really know. Hello there. Anyway, if we put our list of eBay prices together here, we actually don't miss the mark too much. I mean, this isn't like a super egregious ask, right? $7,500 compared to, what, $6,700 if I'm being super generous. But again, we're just taking the average eBay sale price of graphics cards here. And depending on who you ask, I mean, some won't even entertain the idea of buying a mined with card. And it's very obvious that these cards have been mined with. So you might even want to take, you know, a decent discount off of this price. But I will say this isn't the most far-fetched listing out there. I've got to be honest. Then again, I don't know who out there is in need of like a ton of mismatched graphics cards. I mean, it's not like you can really flip these because they're already used. So you've already kind of reduced your margin down to practically nothing. If you wanted to just flip a bunch of rigs, I guess you could do that. You just kind of mix the graphics cards into them. But there are other places to get 3060s, 3070s, 3080s, etc. It doesn't have to be from this one rig here. I think you might be able to find better prices in bulk if you're willing to go the mining route. And now I saved the best, or well, the worst in this case, for last. You're looking. You know, let me get my frame out of here. Just want you guys to admire or cringe at whatever the heck this is. This is how folks treated these cards. Not all of them. Some were very careful with how they, you know, used their rigs. They kept their mining rigs very clean and well-ventilated areas. Look, you guys, I get it. You get a lot of hate from gamers. That's cool. But at least you respected the cards. You used them. You maybe didn't use them the way people wanted you to, but you took good care of them. This is just... what is this? These are literally being suspended by the little fingers on the backs of these I/O plates. What on earth is going on here? How is this supposed to sell? Like, how are you supposed to sell whatever the heck this is with this presentation? There's nothing appealing about this at all, unless you're willing to bypass all of the disgusting cable management and the super cringy way that these cards are being suspended from the undersides of wireframe shelving. This is so painful to read. 8 full rigs. There's 8 rigs here. Somehow there's 8. Maybe there's more. Oh, there's more of them. Oh, more zip-tied suspended graphics cards. This is like a horror film. What am I looking at here? Please do not tell me there's more of this stuff. I mean, at least these things are sitting sideways. This one's just, they already hung this one out to dry, and these are the subjects waiting to also follow suit. This is cruel and unusual punishment. It says 8 full rigs with 68 graphics cards, plus USB cables, PCIe riser, and power supply, parallel miner with board. Plug and go, 34.64 gigahash per second mining KAS, 2 3090s, 6 3080s, 41 3070s, 2 3060s, 10 3060 Ti's, 7 1660 Supers, and then, like, just some cheap... I mean, a lot of this stuff, honestly, is so cheap, it's not even worth pricing out. Like, no one's going to go out and buy a freaking Celeron G4930. This is... I don't get it. And you paired it with a Z390 motherboard. Again, I don't get it. A G5400 here, an i7 4770, an i3 530. No one's going to pay you anything for that. You'd have to pay me to take this off your hands. I'm sorry, my friend. There's just no... There's no way to make proper use of this anymore, not in today's day and age. And then another i5 3570. So I'm gonna go through and price this stuff out. There's like a ton of cards here, so I'll be right back.
A lot of boring math later.
$20,500. I think I did that math right. And look, maybe I missed a card or two, but this is sort of the ballpark we're dealing with. This does not include the price of the platforms, which I'm not even going to bother with. It's not going to put a dent into this. And they want, what, $45,000? And this, mind you, was originally listed for a lot more than that. Yeah, how does $75,000 sound? This was listed 23 weeks ago. Something tells me they're not going to get anywhere near this asking price, let alone the original asking price. I mean, just the audacity here. Like, you have to be so bold. You could just have a big old set of cojones to think that anyone would be willing to pay you this much money. This is a super nice car. This is a huge down payment on a super nice house. Yet for some reason you think people are willing to pay this for a bunch of used Hanging in midair graphics cards. Bold. Very bold. What do you guys think? This was just me scratching the surface. There's a lot more out there, and this is honestly just one particular area in the US. So I'm sure I could find worse if I really looked. But a lot of folks still living in La La Land. We uploaded a video like this a while back. Miners are still living in La La Land, blah, blah, blah. And at the risk of sounding slightly repetitive, I will say that it doesn't look like many of them have learned their lesson. And look, they spent so much money on these cards to begin with that they're unable to just wrap their minds around the fact that the market is corrected this hard. And it's largely corrected this hard because of some of the things that they're involved in, right? Especially in the mining scene. Folks aren't using graphics cards to mine anymore. And if they are, they're not using the cards to mine the things that used to be very profitable, like Ethereum. Now you're mining your neighbor down the street's freaking Dogcoin. Like that's about it. And then you're still speculating because those prices are so volatile up and down, and they're freaking worth like 100,000th of 1 penny. So you got to mine like 1 billion of them to make it worth your while. I've never been attracted to mining personally. I've never mined. I've tried to learn a bit about it, to learn a bit about, kind of how it works and why it works. But beyond that, it's just not something that ever appealed to me. And it was mostly because I just thought it was pure speculation and pure risk and just not worth much of the hassle. Could I have made a lot of money? Sure. Do I regret it? No, I really don't. I really don't. It's just not something I wanted to be a part of. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about these listings here. And yeah, don't worry, this isn't going to be the norm on the channel anymore. We used to upload very critical videos like this of ads online. And I think that these miners especially had it coming. I mean, these that are just refusing to adjust their prices to be more in line with the market trends. Anyway, I will quit rambling. If you haven't subscribed already, get subscribed. Consider giving this one a thumbs up. Comment down below. And yeah, stay tuned. Kick it for the next video. It's going to be something very different. I think you'll find it very entertaining. My name's Greg. Thanks for learning with me.